fulfilled essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The Trinity of the truth, we speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind and question justify. With you and God in time, our best align.
Shine, fly. No time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, fly, be patient, cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They can be riches that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. So we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host and Chief White House Correspondent, Dr. Nii-Quartelai. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. That's just type in DRNIIQ, just Dr. Nii-Q. You type that in, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast powered by KBLA Talk 1580. Did you know we're the only Black-owned and operated talk station west of the Mississippi? Did you know that? Really? Did you know that? If you didn't, now you know, and that's why the work that we do here is all the more important. Speaking of what's important, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. You decide. Kicking us off, ABC News is reporting that Andrew Lester has died while awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty in the shooting of teen Ralph Yarl. That's right, Andrew Lester, the Kansas City man who pled guilty to felony assault in the second degree for the shooting of Ralph Yarl, has died while awaiting sentencing. That's according to Clay County prosecuting attorney Zachary Thompson. Lester, who was 86, was set to go on trial this week for the shooting of Yarl, a Black teenager who mistakenly knocked on his door. But ahead of the trial, Lester entered a guilty plea just this past Friday. He entered a guilty plea on felony assault in the second degree. He was expected to be sentenced in this case during a hearing on March 7th. Second-degree assault, which is a Class D felony, carries with it sentencing possibilities of up to 7 years in prison. But I guess now we will never know. Yarl was 16 at the time of the shooting and suffered a traumatic brain injury. His family has told ABC News in a statement that justice was never truly served. In other news, the Trump administration has halted legal representation for 26,000 immigrant children. The LA Times is reporting that the Trump administration halted a program that provided lawyers to nearly 26,000 immigrant children, some too young to read or speak, who are or were under the custody of the Office of Refugee Resettlement. The children, about 4,000 of whom live in California, face deportation, and many don't have parents or legal guardians in the country. The Interior Department on Tuesday ordered the Acacia Center for Justice, which coordinates the federally funded program that pay the attorneys, to stop work. In its letter, the agency cited contracting rules to justify the program pause, but did not offer clear reasons why. So as you can see, clearly the chaos continues, but it's sort of unconscionable that you let these kids be in this sort of vulnerable state by halting their legal representation. In other news, big swings, but big misses. Doge is struggling to back up their outsized claims. NBC News reporting that Elon Musk's cost-cutting and fraud-finding apparatus, the Department of Government Efficiency, otherwise known as Doge, came out swinging in recent days, but the results, 2 stunning strikeouts. A series of announcements by Doge, as well as claims by Musk and President Trump about the agency's efforts, have crumbled under scrutiny, even as they're broadly repeated by conservative pundits, sympathetic media, and the White House. 2 of the most notable claims around Social Security fraud and $8 billion savings found in a Department of Homeland Security contract have been, get this, debunked. Meanwhile, Trump's agenda is set to add to the federal government's deficit, well in the excesses of what Doge is cutting. Cutting government waste and hunting for fraud are perennially popular topics for politicians across the political spectrum. But federal agencies each have their own internal watchdogs known as inspectors general that are meant to hunt for misuse of taxpayer dollars. More than a dozen of them have been fired by the Trump administration. So think about this. If the Trump administration is really laser focused on rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, if the Trump administration is really about this government efficiency life, then their actions against these inspector generals whose job is to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, firing them is off mission. So which one is it? Are you rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, or are you doing something else? See, you can't just listen to what they say. You have to watch what they do. And we're not even a full month into the new administration, and we're already seeing double talk that is creating more chaos and confusion than anything else. And you got to wonder, well, what's all this chaos and confusion about? You know, they're firing people left and right, laying off people left and right, you know, rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, so they say. What are they on the hunt for? Tax cuts. Remember the 2017 tax cut that Congress passed under the first Trump administration? Well, that expires this year. So they're on the hunt to cut, so they can give millionaires and billionaires the tax break of a lifetime. Mark my words. We'll come back to that. When we come forward, we are switching gears. I'm really delighted to welcome Nicholas Wiggins. He is a senior advisor to the NAACP Image Awards, and he's also an arts and culture correspondent, and he is here with us to give us the rundown on the pending NAACP Image Awards, which is already getting into full swing right here in Los Angeles. We celebrate Black excellence, not just when NAACP Image Awards happens, but we celebrate it all day, every day here at KBLA Talk 1580. And staying on brand and on mission, Nicholas Wiggins is going to join us next. More when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
1 in 3 children born today will get diabetes. This sad prediction by the Centers for Disease Control will come true if millions of Americans don't improve their lifestyles, especially by changing what they eat, how much they eat, and how active they are every day. Every 23 seconds, another American gets diabetes. Stop diabetes before it starts. To learn more, contact the American Diabetes Association or download our free diabetes education programs at learningaboutdiabetes.org.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Hit me! National News, The Consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and so delighted to welcome back to the show Nicholas Wiggins. He is Senior Advisor to the NAACP Image Awards. He's also our Arts and Culture contributor, and it's NAACP Image Award Week, and so here to give us the full skinny on things is Nicholas Wiggins. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be back.
Well, excited to have you. But first things first, at the top of the show in the Good, Bad, and Ugly headlines, I had shared that Andrew Lester has died while awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty in the shooting of teen Ralph Yarl. We know that the NAACP was out front sort of calling for justice for Ralph Yarl when that shooting took place. Wanted to give you a chance to react to that headline that just came out earlier today.
Well, we'll always stand with the family in this tragedy. And as they indicated, that justice was not really served in this case. It is an unfortunate all around, but as the NAACP will continue to be in our communities advocating for, reform and whatever is needed to prevent these senseless acts of murder to happen.
And speaking of NAACP being in the community, before we get into the NAACP Image Award news, we know that NAACP has been very active on the ground here in Los Angeles since the early days after the LA wildfires began, really engaging with folks, not just in LA, but specifically in Altadena. You want to give us an update on some of the work that NAACP is leading, not just from the national level. Y'all didn't just parachute in, but local NAACP chapters here in the area are also activating.
Yeah, we came on the ground as soon as we could, supporting Altadena and the various areas of Los Angeles impacted by the California wildfires. We have, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, through the Image Awards and through other partners, we have supported and created the Altadena Preservation Fund, which is going to, through donations from people across the country, going to give resources directly back to Black families affected in Altadena. But in addition to that, we're doing things like supporting the filing of lawsuits, against Southern California Edison Company and Edison International. We're working with financial regulators and organizations to help families affected by the wildfires. We're trying to ensure that Black and women-owned businesses can secure contracts and other projects necessary to rebuild. And we're engaging disaster relief organizations to ensure that all Black Americans affected and Americans affected get the aid that they deserve.
I mean, that is really great. I mean, and all things considered, there's a lot afoot. I would say NAACP's mission has never been more important than it is right now. We're seeing that play out, not just in terms of relief efforts related to the LA wildfires, but we know that you all were also on the ground in the Carolinas following Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton and so in addition to some of the emergency response efforts, you all are also leading the charge as folks are stepping back from their DEI commitments, folks in corporate America. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but let's have a little bit of fun talking about the NAACP Image Award nominees. My understanding is that the festivities have already begun.
Yes, indeed. We had a showcase of our short film categories last night. And yesterday and today, we've started handing out awards already virtually on our YouTube channel at NAACP Image Awards. And we're excited. We're going to continue the week. This is the 56th year. The Image Awards is the home of Black excellence. And we hope that America sees this as a place where Black Americans can find their value in the entertainment industry as we celebrate the projects that have really showcased our culture throughout the year.
And for people who are hiding under a rock, the NAACP Image Awards has long celebrated Black excellence. I mean, I remember one of my friends and good mentors, former NAACP board member, Willis Edwards. And I remember the work that he did, the groundwork that he and so many others sort of laid. I think he would be just thrilled to see what the NAACP Image Awards has grown into. The fact that, there are so many people being awarded that the awards go beyond just the telecast, right? You all are leaning into new media and awarding people, recognizing people on the YouTube streaming channel as we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone beyond just an award show that happens on a Friday or Saturday night. We have a whole week-long series of events, virtually, digitally, and in person. You know, the NAACP, you speak about Willis Edwards, and, you know, he really was a champion of what we do here, and we would not be here without him. But yeah, the NAACP Image Awards has really grown into this incredible celebration of Black memory. It's 84 categories, you know, over 80 categories are presented this week in all sorts of areas, including podcasts and social media influencers and other categories that we've added in the last year or two.
Well, congratulations to everybody in the podcast category. You know, we wish them well, all of our colleagues that are producing podcasts that are providing a service to the culture, that's providing trusted news and information where it's needed. And so we celebrate that here all day as we do our work to build a more perfect union. But let's talk about some of the folks that have been honored already. Taraji P. Henson has won 2 Image Awards, one for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a limited television series, special or movie for Peacock's Fight Night, The $1 Million Heist, which co-starred Samuel L. Jackson. And as the author of the children's book, You Can Be Good Friends No Matter What, a little TJ book, you know, talk to us about the Black excellence footprint that we're seeing grow before our very eyes, right? I mean, a lot of us are used to seeing Taraji, you know, on film or on TV, right? But we're able to celebrate her excellence also as an author. And she's not a one-off. There are a number of people that are a part of this growth of the Black excellence footprint in media.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that I love this show and have been, you know, an advisor to it for many, many, many years, is that we really celebrate all the totality of what it means, what Black excellence means. And that's in front of, behind the camera, on the side of the camera, all around the camera. You know, literary categories we have had for, you know, over, you know, 2 decades. And we keep adding categories because we want to make sure that we are tapping into everything that's happening. For example, we realized that the makeup and hairstyling community was not being properly recognized during award season. Our makeup artists and hairstylists who are doing remarkable work in film, TV, and other areas. So we started that category, and that's really been an excellent way to celebrate their talents during award season.
And not only are you celebrating, you know, the talents of folks in the industry, but you're also celebrating some very distinct political voices. Special honorees include former Vice President Kamala Harris. She will receive the Chairman's Award. We also know that trailblazing comedian Dave Chappelle will be awarded with the President's Award. The Wayans family, namely Keenan Ivory Wayans, Damon Wayans, and Marlon Wayans, as well as Sean and Kim and Damon Jr., will be inducted into the NAACP Image Award Hall of Fame. And our friend Joteka Eddy, founder and CEO of Win with Black Women, and Essence Communication, they'll also receive special awards at the Creative Honor Ceremony on February 21st. And so, you know, talk to us about what rigor goes in to selecting these special honorees. It's clear that what your process is when it comes to, you know, the submission from honorees for so many different categories. But when it comes to these special honors, talk to us about, you know, how the leadership at NAACP sort of thinks about these honors and how they develop this very, very short list that hopefully meets the moment.
Yeah, so we start, you know, the show is Saturday and we start on Sunday, thinking about what next year looks like. And we just continue to monitor the impact that so many are having on our culture from a social justice lens, particularly for the special awards. For example, my good friend, Joteka Edie, has done remarkable work creating this vast network of phenomenal Black women and Win with Black Women that has really had significant impact on our country and the world in the 2 or so years that she's had these, weekly calls. I don't have to speak about, our forever vice president. You wrote a book that speaks to her brilliant efforts, and others in the special categories. I mean, I'm very excited about honoring the Wayans family. They have really haven't gotten their due around the impact that they've had as a complete family in the comedy arena. And so, we just monitor it, and the president and the chairman make their decisions on their own. They get counsel, but they make their decisions on their own, and then the others are done by special committee.
Well, when we come forward, we're going to talk a little bit more about the work afoot at the NAACP, including the decision to develop a spending guide to urge Black Americans to avoid companies that dumped diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're going to dig into that and even more headlines with Nicholas Wiggins. He is the senior advisor to the NAACP Image Awards. He's also our arts and culture contributor, and we are delighted to have him. More when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're looking to be engaged, enlightened, and empowered about issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice, you've tuned into the right place. A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A judge temporarily halted the firing of 11 intelligence officers over their DEI assignments, ordering a 5-day delay. The officers were told to resign or face termination for their temporary DEI work. Black New York Attorney General Letitia James is condemning a reported 20% staff cut to the World Trade Center health program, calling it reckless and cruel. The program aids 132,000 first responders and survivors with 9/11 related health issues. Maryland's U.S. senators and 265 lawmakers are urging President Trump to reinstate National Labor Relations Board member Gwen Wilcox, who is Black, calling her firing unprecedented and illegal. They warn understaffing is harming workers' rights to organize and bargain. And Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe is ordering state agencies to cut DEI initiatives, but says discrimination laws will still be enforced. The move follows Attorney General Andrew Bailey's lawsuit against Starbucks over its diversity programs. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Sepulveda Pass. This is on the 405 northbound at Skirball Center, where a stalled car's just been cleared to the right shoulder. Overall delays out of Culver City, getting away from Washington Boulevard. Also, we're heading out to the drive in Moreno Valley. A crash, 215 northbound before the 60. Everything's out of lanes now, but the drive is loading up away from University. Pasadena, 210 eastbound. Delays from Lincoln, and it's pretty heavy all the way out to Foothill Boulevard. More slowing in Upland from Baseline to the 15.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Tennis legend Venus Williams was given a wildcard exemption to play in next month's B&P Paribas Open at Indian Wells, California. The Compton native, now 44, will play a first-round match on March 5th. Venus has not played since the Miami Open in 2024. While UCLA is celebrating a very talented women's basketball team, ranked number 1 in the country for 12 weeks, was 23-0, and now ranked number 3 in the nation, things are a lot different for the UCLA men's program. The Bruins lost at home to Minnesota Tuesday night, 64-61, after missing 10 free throws in the second half, including 6 straight in the final 3 minutes. Bruins coach Mick Cronin laid some of the blame on UCLA fans for his team's collapse, saying the fans groaned too much after the missed free throws. This is Cronin's 6th season at UCLA. It'll be interesting to see if he's around for a 7th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Attention Los Angeles County renters and landlords. Starting January 1st, 2025, there are new rules limiting rent increases for rent-stabilized units in unincorporated LA County. Most rent-stabilized units will have rent increases capped at 2.565% from January through June 2025, with exceptions for qualified small property landlords and luxury units. To learn more about the new changes, visit rent.lacounty.gov. This message is brought to you by Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I've always wanted to hold one of these.
Soon and very soon.
Soon and very soon. From your mouth to the ears of the voters of the NAACP. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We're joined with Nicholas Wiggins, who's the senior advisor to the NAACP Image Awards. He's also our arts and culture contributor. And what I'm holding right here is one of Tavis Smiley's Image Awards, one of his many Image Awards. I've lost count how many he has because he only has about half of them here in the office. The other half is is with his family. And this is one of the many awards he got. This was at the 32nd annual NAACP Image Awards when he won for Outstanding News Talk or Information Special for BET Tonight with Tavis Smiley, Black and Blue, a town hall meeting in New York City. And so holding a little piece of history right here, while so many folks are preparing to make history at this year's NAACP Image Awards, which is already streaming on YouTube. And so if you want to check out who's winning awards already, just go on to the NAACP Image Awards YouTube channel, and you'll have a chance to check that out. But the big award show, the telecast on both CBS and BET, happens this Saturday. Is that right?
This Saturday, February 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern. So yes, we are looking forward on BET, our partner over the past few years.
Well, that's good to see. What's also good to see is that NAACP has a spending guide that's urging Black Americans to avoid companies that dumped DEI. The Hill is reporting that NAACPs are urging Black Americans to refrain from shopping at retailers that have stepped back from their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The nation's oldest civil rights organization released its Black Consumer Advisory, a project intended to help educate Black Americans on who's pushing progress and who's stuck in the past. Nicholas, talk to us about what inspired the NAACP to direct its efforts in defense of DEI in the form of this Black Consumer Advisory.
Yep, and Nii-Quartelai, it's just that. It is an advisory. We want everyone in the community to make an educated choice about where they spend their money. So we are not dictating where the Black community should spend its money. We're just advising them on who has stepped up to confirm their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and who has rolled back those corporate pledges that were made in the past, driven by political pressure and unfounded claims of reverse discrimination. But at the NAACP, for 116 years, we have always been fighting for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we will continue to do so.
Derek Johnson, the president and CEO of NAACP, wrote on social media, quotes, while companies backtrack on diversity, equity, and inclusion commitments, the NAACP's Black Consumer Advisory is designed to leverage the $1.7 trillion spending power of the Black community to hold corporations accountable on DEI and social justice. Nicholas, how confident are you that companies, particularly in the entertainment industry, are going to see this and decide differently, decide against backing away from their commitments? We've seen companies like Disney, among others, seemingly backtracking. We know that in the past, the entertainment industry has been a place where folks of color have struggled to get opportunities, leadership opportunities, and enjoy the kind of job and career growth that other communities have. What impact do you hope that this has on the entertainment industry?
I think both our consumer advisory and the NAACP Image Awards are a constant reminder to entertainment studios and the industry that Black Americans shape this culture. We are the ones that bring new trends every day to our culture and really define what's next for entertainment, marketing, all sorts of areas. And so you spoke to that $1.7 trillion. We hold the power of the purse. And if we don't see ourselves reflected in the leadership, in the marketing and advertising, in store, if we don't see ourselves reflected, I personally don't feel like I need to shop there.
But I'm thinking about efforts like this advisory, and we've heard some people even call for boycotts. We know there's been a backlash from civil rights organizations, to companies like McDonald's and Target and Walmart, Amazon, among others. Juxtapose the calls for folks to boycott these companies with the Montgomery bus boycott, which was very focused, very concentrated. There are some folks who are critical who say that these efforts are too broad. They're not specific enough. And by the way, why is organized labor, not at the table when these decisions are being made in terms of, who to boycott or other tactics to employ, being that, when it comes to strikes, organized labor kind of cornered the market on that.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we just met with all of the top officials across the labor spectrum during our annual meeting in New York. Had a very, very good conversation about what's next. And it's also interesting that you bring up the Montgomery bus boycott because as I majored in history, American studies, remember, not everyone was able to participate in that. Some people still had to go to work. and some people still had to hop on that bus. They didn't want to, but it was the only way that they could get there. There were drivers, there were those that were supporting the effort, but it wasn't something that everyone could do. So I say that because every individual Black family needs to make a decision that's best for themselves and how they are operating their daily lives. But at the end of the day, yes, we do support a coordinated movement to show our power to corporations who may be considering taking action that may hurt our people, whether it be within the corporation or within the consumer market.
And speaking of actions and policies that may hurt our community, switching gears a little bit, Capital B News is reporting that Trump's policies could threaten Black students with disabilities. We know that under federal law, the nation's 7 million school children with disabilities are entitled to a range of legal rights and protections that ensure that they receive a free and appropriate education and do not experience discrimination in the classroom. But the laws only do so much in protecting and entitling students. They have to be enforced. And that's where special education advocates, experts in ensuring that those guidelines are followed, come into play. Talk to us about how you all are looking to lift up some of the challenges and opportunities facing Black youth in our country at the NAACP Image Awards.
Well, you threw me for a loop with the last part, but we to speak to that particular issue, we can't advocate without a Department of Education first and foremost. So we are advocating for that to stay in place, of course. And then, as far as how this ties to the NAACP Image Awards is that, we continue to, the NAACP Image Awards is not just glitz and glamour. It's a year-long series of activities, panels, conversations within the industry to support all of the causes that we are advocating for from a social justice lens. For example, tonight we have our Hollywood House, which is our conversation with the industry on various subjects. We're partnering with companies like Airbnb and others to talk about the issues facing equity in the entertainment industry, and education is a part of that conversation.
Well, we definitely love to see it. Speaking of education and having important conversations, earlier this week, we had NAACP Image Award winning writer-producer Cameron Johnson, as well as entertainment attorney Yemi Adebomere on the show. This was a preview of a panel that they were doing at the Pan-African Film Festival here in LA, where they were talking about being Black and queer in Hollywood. And one of the conversations that came up was related to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle getting honored by the NAACP Image Awards with the President's Award. When we come forward, I want to play just a little bit of a clip from that conversation with them and give you a chance to weigh in. We also want to give the folks that are streaming our show right now an opportunity to weigh in. And so jump in the group chat, jump in the YouTube group chat, and let us know your thoughts on the clip that we're going to play for you when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help. Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. IG or find them on Instagram at Walk Good LA. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and he is Nicholas Wiggins. He is Senior Advisor to the NAACP Image Awards. He's also our Arts and Culture contributor, and it's about that time for the quiet part out loud. Now, to so many of our leaders, learners, and listeners, you might remember earlier this week, we had NAACP Image Award winning writer-producer Cameron Johnson on the show, along with entertainment attorney Yemi Adebomere. And they were giving us a preview of a conversation that they were preparing to have at the Pan-African Film Festival here in Los Angeles. One of the topics that just happened to come up on the tail end of our conversation was related to Dave Chappelle being awarded the NAACP President's Award at the NAACP Image Award. Take a listen to what they had to say. NAACP awarding Dave Chappelle with that President's Award.
I think the most important reason why they shouldn't be giving him that award is because his last two specials have not been funny. That's the real problem with his work. But I mean, it's pretty gross, and it feels like a betrayal of the people who make so much of the art. I mean, you had many queer people on that stage, many queer people who do the work of making that show possible and of making all of the art that Black people consume possible. And you have a person who essentially equates gayness with whiteness in his own words and has gone out of his way to punch down at a community that really has no problem with him. So I'm not excited. I'm disappointed in the NAACP, and like Effie White, I'm telling you, I'm not going.
The television show was great and pointed out and had great ironies and things like that. And we have to, I think, accept that the same guy that gave us the race auction and the this and the that and the other stories about not Slick Rick, what's his name?
Rick James,
right? Rick James, the Prince basketball story, all of those, the same person that gave us those insights may have insights into folks' real hearts, and has also demonstrated that he very much has had a personal experience and cares and has loved and loves on the folks of us in the LGBTQIA plus community, and particularly trans folks. I think he went out of his way to share that with us. And I don't see that really being acknowledged. And so I struggle with dismissing him.
So that was the conversation from earlier this week. That was with Cameron and Yemi. This part of the show is the quiet part out loud. We want to give Nicholas, Senior Advisor to the NAACP Image Awards, a chance to respond to that.
Well, I referenced at the top, and thank you for this. I referenced at the top of our show that the special awards, particularly the Chairman's and the President's Award, are chosen by those individuals. But I do stand by President Johnson's choice here to honor someone who has really been an incredible impact to our culture for many, many years. He has in various ways apologized for certain things that have been said in the past. I think there's more growth to happen with individual, but this is a moment where I hope those who want to write this off seek it as an opportunity to continue to reach out, and I know that organizations will, in a way, to Mr. Chappelle, to demonstrate how some things he says may hurt them, but overall how he can continue to use his voice to be an advocate for all in our community.
Well, so I mean, look, I definitely understand both Cameron and Yemi's position here. My instinct is to lean in. my instinct is to invite people in, especially in this environment that we find ourselves in. I think, we need as many folks in the arena as possible, recognizing everybody is they may be on a different leg of the journey, right? But at the end of the day, there is so much reason for concern in our communities. And so appreciate all of your perspectives. I appreciate all of your work. Each one of you, you're not just yelling out from the cheap seats. Y'all are in the arena. You all are doing the work. And so there will be a number of people recognized at the NAACP Image Awards telecast this Saturday. You can watch it on BET and CBS. Where can people go? Where can people go to tap in before, during, and after the show?
Absolutely. Well, most of the voting is over. We've calculated and all of the votes in most categories except for our social media personality award. So you can still go to naacpimageawards.net and vote for that category, I believe, until Friday morning. So do that. Also engage with us on social at NAACP Image Awards, or use the hashtag NAACP Image Awards. And please tune in on Saturday, February 22nd on BET at 8 p.m. Eastern for what is going to be a remarkable show.
And Nicholas, quickly in 20 seconds, isn't there also a benefit event that NAACP is doing for the folks in Altadena?
Yep, I started at the top and we'll end there. We've really centered the show around supporting those who were affected by the California wildfires, particularly Black Americans in the Altadena community. So what would typically be an after party will have a lighter tone. It's a benefit concert to support the Altadena Preservation Fund, and we're really excited about that.
Well, I'm looking forward to being there and looking forward to basking in the Black excellence that is descending upon Los Angeles this weekend. Our thanks to Nicholas Wiggins, Senior Advisor to the NAACP Image Awards, also our arts and culture correspondent. Please, by all means, come back again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward in afternoon drive time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A bill to stop state and local funding in Iowa for DEI programs and ban hiring DEI officers is moving forward. It makes exceptions for agencies with federal contracts. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and 3 other mayors will testify on Capitol Hill March 5th, defending sanctuary cities. He says he'll represent